Hey everybody, this is Avi. Let's take a look at some of the charts here that I posted for tonight. Let's take a look at VIX first of all, because a lot of the market will move according to VIX. So right now, VIX broke support level. Let's just look at the daily chart, matter of fact. So VIX currently close right below our support level here at 1562. We're still in within that demand level. Every time we come down to this demand level, we see a spike. So this is a level here to be very cautious with. Between this level of 1562 here, all the way down to 14 something. Going into tomorrow, let's look at 2 hour charts. We have a falling wedge. So I want to see a reclaim of 1562, or let's just say $16. You have a 1 hour resistance of 1618 to 1663. So at least I want to see some reclaim of this 1562 or $16 level over here. If we're to go to GEX level, let's just check that out really fast. So we're currently in negative GAX. This is where you see market makers start hedging within this level here. So you can also see a spike back to this $19 level here. If we start seeing some sort of support at this $15, $16 area, if we reclaim 16, you can see a spike back to this $19 level coming up this week if possible. Let's go to SPY. Major level I'm looking here for SPY is this supply zone up here. We had a hanging man going into Thursday, closing Thursday, and we have a shooting star at Friday's close. So that there is just telling me to be cautious. So if we start getting a close below 683 on SPY, breaking this falling wedge, you could see a retest of 675 to 672, but you want to get that close below 683. If you start staying above 685, 686, then you could start pushing up to that 690 level over here. That's the major key levels that we're looking for in SPY. As you can see, going into that 4 hour, we do have that rising wedge forming. But that doesn't mean you're going to break down. So pay attention to this 683, 685, 686 level. That's a major key level that we want to look at the moment. So let's see how the market opens, but this is your key level. Let's look at GEX here for a moment. You have GEX is currently at major GEX levels, the 686 level above 686, and you see this start acting as support. You could get a push up towards this 690 level. If you start breaking below 685 or right over here, then you can see price start coming back down to that 672, 675, 672 area. Let's take a look at QQQ really fast. So on QQQ, what we're dealing with here, we're in that supply zone here in QQQ, which is 625 to 626 level. You have same thing like SPY. You have a hanging man. Then you have a hanging man over here too. And if you look back at SPY, you have a hanging man. Then you flush to the bottom here. You have a hanging man. But now you have a shooting star rejection. So something to note here as VIX is sitting in demand zone as well. You're having a hanging man here on QQQ. Then you have a shooting star right into resistance level here, the supply zone. So going into this week's session, what you want to see for any downside target, you want to see that rejection of 625. You want to see price, especially closing below this level here. You want to see price closing below 622 area below this candle and a rejection, constant rejection here. And you could start getting that retest of this level here, which is this 612 area to 606, anywhere between this range here. You can see that retest happen. If we start consolidating or holding above 626 area, we could continue to test 637. Again, if for bearish scenario, you want to close below that 623, 622. For bullish scenario, you continuously want to see support at this 626 area to retest. Let's look at GEX level here for QQQ. Major GEX level that you have here for QQQ are 626. You start closing above 626 and find support here. You can see 630 would be the next key level that we hit. You start closing below 622, as I talked about. You could start to see QQQ come back down and have that retest of 612, 615, 612 would be the next level, or 606 for more bearish case scenario. Let's take a look at IWM. So IWM, all of these tickers are currently closing within supply zones. IWM have a shooting star, sort of like a doji, within a supply zone. So what we're looking for on IWM here is we want to see that constant close or rejection below 250 to 248 if you want to see any downside. If we start seeing that close below 250 or any rejection below 280, 248 on higher volume, you do have the next key level is 244 retest. You will hit that 244 retest if you get a rejection below 248. Now you do have two fair value gaps here, which is the daily fair value gaps, and at some point price is going to come back and it's going to fill that fair value gap. When is it going to do it? I don't know, but you just got to look at how prices are reacting. If you're getting a lot of bearish momentum or volume coming in, or selling volume, then the first thing you will do is retest at 244. If you start falling below 244, I expect these fair value gap to get filled at least 240 or 237 if we start coming down and retest or retrace this entire move over here, which is that 618, which is through 237 area. So you tend to have that 0.5 to 0.618 retracement and a wave 2 retracement once it's complete. One of the things that you want to note as well here is that on these move up, pay attention to the volume price analysis. Here, moving down is quite choppy. All over here as well, it was quite choppy. Then we have that dip, quite choppy. Then we have that dip. But over here, the volume is we have a cleaner volume moving up in terms of buying. The candles are a bit more cleaner until you got up here. Then you got that like compressed candles that you're seeing. So we're getting that compression started where, and some rejection. You're seeing some resistance up here. So that's why we got to be careful at this level, because now you're seeing some resistance within supply zone. So this will be your trading range within the supply zone is your trading range. So you want to be very careful, because price could simply move up during the day that we did here, and then you get rejection again throughout the day. So just be careful and watch out for that. For GDX, which is gold miners, this is tracking gold. What I have here is a rejection. You're seeing rejections here on gold, GDX gold miner. So level we're watching, a key resistance level is $82. We do have a fair value gap here in the 4 hour. I want to see that fair value gap and an ABC retracement get filled. If we start dropping below here, you're gonna get a retest over here. So best buying area is probably within this $77 to $75 area. If you get a retest there, that's going to be your buying zone for gold miners. Let's take a look at the let me see here, the equities that we have for individual stocks. So the one that we're looking at here is Apple. So Apple is currently in a uptrend, rising wedge. You do have a breakout of this level over here, and you're currently retesting that level. On that retest, one thing to note is that our BX trender has flipped bearish as of Friday. That does not mean entirely that we're going to close red or we're going to come down. We're going to start breaking to downside. We just got to see how Monday close goes, because you can always find support within 278 to 275. So you want to see whether or not we're breaking 275. If we are, then you could start see price moving down. So key level going into tomorrow would be this level over here, this support level. You have 278 to 275. This is your retest level for any sort of a bounce. Your resistance level would be 286 on Apple. So your entire trading range is 286 to all the way down to 275 for Apple. For AMD, level we're looking at here is continuous rejection off 220 to 227. You had a breakdown in an ABC. So we're watching for now is whether or not we're going to have ABC or a WXY double pattern, or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. So just be careful with this area is acting as key resistance or supply area that broke down. We're currently in a rising wedge, so you can easily see if you cannot hold, if you could hold this level, then you could see some more upside. If you fail to hold this level here, then what you'll see happen is a break to the downside. So you have to watch to see if we break more to the downside. And the next level is 202 support right over here. So 202 is support. Key resistance is 220 to 227. I'm not entirely sure, but you did have that ABC retracement. You see some volume coming in, but we're not out of the woods yet with AMD. So whether or not you're going to see a breakdown or a failed breakdown, then move back up towards the upside, we'll see. Just be careful with AMD. We do have that resistance level up here. Let's take a look at Amazon. So for Amazon, there are pretty much two kind of scenarios that could play out for Amazon. Whichever one plays out, we'll see. But we have a bullish and a bearish case scenario. You have key supply zone up here, which is, and you are getting rejected off of that 234 to 242. That's your key supply zone. So key resistance zone you're looking at going into Monday is this 235 area over here. You want to see that 235 area hold. If you start breaking below, you're going to continue dropping. So you either going to come back down a little bit, retest this support here, which price broke down earlier, come back up. You want to retest that. And if you pay attention to that, you go here, and that would be your fib retracement within that 618.618.786. And you could move on up back to the upside, or you get a failed break to the downside. Not sure which one is going to happen. But key level here that we are looking for in any terms of any kind of retracement is this area here. We're looking for this 222 area, where we're going to see what happens at this area here, whether now we get a bounce or and move to the upside, or a failed bounce to the upside. Failed bounce at fail and come down to the downside, or we're gonna move up to the upside. We do have an ABC retracement, so we tend to do this is what you call a 1, 2, 3, or you have a 7 to the downside, which is a complex AB, WXY to the downside. We still have to wait and see what happens. Depends what the overall market is going to do as well. Let's move on to the next one we're going to do is Google. Let's take a look at Google. I think this is Google. Is it? Yes. So Google, on the daily chart for Google, Google is seeing rejection off of this 322. So this here will be a key level for Google to get over. You need to get over that 322. You do have support here at 315 to 330. So you could continue to see Google trade within this range here. So this will be the trading range for Google, which is 322 to 315, 313. Any break below 313 area, and you can see this gap at 309 to 360 get filled. So this here will be your trading range for Google. If you look at the 4-hour, we do have a falling wedge. We try to break out of the falling wedge, but we got rejected. So you want to see a hold of this 323. Let's just say 323 for you to move on up to the upside. And you break below 313, and you can see Google start filling this gap here at 309 to 303. So this here will be your key levels if you're trading 323 to 313 area. That's your key level that you're looking at for Google. For Meta, what we're looking for on Meta is this level here. So Meta came down to our target level, which we have. We have that bounce. We were saying if Meta failed to hold 580, you're going to see this gap get filled. So this was your first buy range for Meta, and if it fails, you're going to expect to see that bounce where you could reaccumulate a bit more. We do have another gap at the bottom here as well. So now Meta, we saw bounce in Meta, and it's moving up towards that key supply area, key resistance area, which was one support. We broke below support, and once you break below support, if you know, support becomes resistance, and once you break above support, it's retested, and buyers step in, it becomes support. So now you're back up to that resistance level here, which is that 6.618, which is where you tend to see resistance. As so, this here is the pivot high, and you take your resistance, your retracement tool, your fib retracement, back down, and now you're right within this 618 level and the point 0.5, which is where you tend to see some sort of key resistance. Right over here is where you tend to see some sort of resistance, but because we are within that resistance area, so you may see some resistance here as well. You do have some selling volume coming in. So now we got to see how going into Monday, whether or not we can gap up and continue. If it start gapping down, I expect us to retest 631 or so to come back down. And then you're looking at that retracement of about 618, which is 617 or so. Now let's look at, let me see here. Let's remove that. Next ticker we're looking at is NVIDIA. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. So for NVIDIA is currently back within this range that it has accumulated before, broke to the upside, and now is back within this range here. As you're seeing, key resistance area for NVIDIA is 184 area. You continually get rejected off 184, but you're creating higher lows on NVIDIA, but it's not out of the woods yet. You are within that falling wedge on NVIDIA. However, you're also within a rising wedge on the 4-hour chart. So you want to see a break and hold above this 184 area on NVIDIA. This here is key level in NVIDIA that you want to see hold. If it start getting rejected and you're breaking this rising wedge, you're going to retest this level at 173 area. Let's look at TrendSpider here for NVIDIA. Okay, you do have this key level here. As you see, this is the 50 EMA. You are still below the 50 EMA, but you're above the point of control. So if you start breaking below the point of control, then you're going to retest this 173 area. You start breaking below this area, then you're coming down further. So NVIDIA not out of the woods yet, but you can still see a push to the upside. Just got to see how the market is going to react. You want to see close above this 185 area or this 50 EMA if you want to push to the upside, because then you are within this point of control over here. You're above the point of control, and you are. Let me just remove this here. You are above the point of control on the 4-hour as well. So let's see how the market reacts. Over here, you want to start some major area. You want to see that break above that 185 to push to the upside. You start breaking below 184 again. You're coming back lower. You're going to keep trading within that range. And the next one, let's go over Tesla. So Tesla on the daily chart that we have for Tesla. Tesla is still in an uptrend. Momentum has stepped in on Tesla. We still have our upside target here for Tesla around 500 to 517 area on Tesla. We're approaching that resistance area where you may see resistance. We have 480 as key resistance level here on the 4-hour time frame. We still have our wave count, which is showing we've had a wave 1, 2. We're in wave 3, so you can see some kind of pullback for wave 4, and to complete wave 5 somewhere around within this area over here of 480 or so, somewhere within this box here, up to 517 or so. So we're still in an uptrend on Tesla. Best place to buy Tesla is not right now. You want to see that pullback to buy Tesla or so. But you can still see a bit more upside towards that 5 something. We do have about on Tesla we have about, last week we saw about $12 million in call premium targeting 550 strike price, which is about here. So you can still see price move up around that 550 area. So if we have like an impulse wave going up, so that's the entire actually let's go over Netflix briefly for everybody who's looking at Netflix as well, which is one of them that I posted. Netflix is still in a distribution, but In terms of Netflix, we saw weekly closes on high volume, selling volume. So key level here that we're looking at for Netflix is this $97 to $93. Major Gex level for Netflix is $100. So you want to see Netflix hold this level here, which is that $100 level or so. We broke below this level here, this retest level. So you want to see a reclaim of this $108, which is a major key level here as well too. Resistance level is $108. And if you want to move back on Netflix, we have major pending news with Netflix and WB, so that will have a major impact on the stock price. So we're gonna look to see how the flow is going. But currently, 100 to 120 strike is where you're seeing major resistance area around that 108 and so forth. So we still have this area here that we're looking at. You have, as I said over here, major volume stepping in. It's either this is some sort of selling climax capitulation, or you're seeing a bigger break to the downside towards this $80 level or so, which is another key level we have marked off on Tesla, not Tesla or Netflix. Um, that is what we're looking at right now. Let's look at the weekly for Netflix really fast. So the weekly have for Netflix is that you're breaking below the 50 EMA and the uptrend. So we do have a target here of $80 if you continue to break to the downside for Netflix. So we are watching what price will do because you're still in that downtrend. So let's see what it does, but you have to reclaim. Yeah, you have some resistance to reclaim here. Um, Pretty much, let's look at one more, which is MSTR, a major one here. So for MSTR, we do have an ABC to the downside. We are currently watching. You have not broken this RSI divergence here yet, this bearish RSI divergence. So you can still come up and see price push to the downside. You still have major selling volume in terms of net volume. And we'll see it really tied to Bitcoin. So we'll see what it does, but you are within this sort of accumulation range over here on the volume profile. Major volume stepped in over here on the daily. So if you've bought within this range or right over here, then your stop should be below the close of the low of this candle, which is around 150 or so, 155, because you could still come back, drop a bit more. Let me see here. MSTR. So yeah, major level here is this 225 area that you need to break and push to the upside, which is, I have it here, 225 to 232. This level right over here. Let me turn this off. So major level is this 225 to 232. If you cannot reclaim this level, then you can continue to see more downside where you see this and push to the downside. Still something to be cautious with on MSTR. But if you've bought here, you can still hold. But if you start breaking below, then you're going to start coming back down lower. Yeah, that's what I have for that so far. For Bitcoin, there's still a case for a bearish case scenario where you retest this 100 or 110,000 area and you just break to the downside. But you're seeing buyers stepping on the daily chart so far. So if you've bought within this region over here, keep holding. No reason to sell. If you start breaking 76, then I expect us to come down to $53,000 to $49,000. If you've within this region, just keep holding. All right, so that's it so far that I have for everything. All right, guys. If you've watched the video, thank you very much. Have a wonderful trading session this coming week. Take care.